How y'all doing, family? Greetings. I'm super excited today because I was just reading Tiffany Rose's book, M is for Melanin. And in the book, she does something super cute. Um, it is one of my favorite things. T. T is for travel. A passport is a powerful thing. To know the world is to better understand yourself. And so that got me, really energized and excited. And it was just, I love to travel. Travel is one of my favorite things to do. And so I was just like, that is so wonderful. And on top of that, I've been watching YouTube videos by The Bags, Black Acres of Gambia, Art Cathey, Black X, just a slew of folks from the US headed to Africa trying to do amazing things. Um, and so I was like, reading the comments, and I realized that people need help on how to do a passport, what information, where to go, So I figured, let me do my video on let's get a passport. So we are going to do that. And so, what I have for you today, switching sides, if you need a passport, then you can easily Google passport. And so, what you're going to do when you get there is you're going to, nope, not that site. No! Why? Today it doesn't want to pull up. So, you are going to get here. How to apply for the passport, travel.state.gov. It's going to open the door to give you all of the information. So, first thing they tell you is what's happening right now with COVID 19 because COVID 19 has messed everybody up. And so, let me tell you, if you don't have a passport, but that's something that you're interested in, now is the time to go ahead and do that because you never know what's going to happen. It was shut down before, it could get shut down again. And so, do it now. You can either go to a passport agency and center, specifically like the embassies and whatnot in your state and city, or you can go to an acceptable place like the U.S. Postal Service. And so I'm going to talk about the perspective of the U.S. Postal Service and what you need. Notice that it says that there are delays that are happening, and also notice that expedited service is suspended. What that means is that there is a long wait for it. Now, you're going to need a form. You're going to pay some money. You're going to get a good photo and provide your citizenship documentation as well as ID and the locations. So let's jump right into the first part. Okay, I think it's recording again. All right, interruptions, that's life. All right, so once you're gonna need the form. The form is a DS11 application form, and I'm gonna walk you through the steps of the application. But I want to point out some things first to you. Number one, if you're trying to do a passport for yourself and the children, there are some specific things you need to know about doing the passport for the children. What you need to know is that you and the child, you as the parent or the legal guardian of the child, both of you need to be present, must appear in order to do in order to do a child's birth certificate, a child's passport. In addition to needing the citizenship documentation, which we'll talk about, it's the same documentation, but you will also need to make sure that you have evidence of the relationship between yourself and the child. And so you need evidence. So whether it's adoption paperwork, birth certificate paperwork, legal court records, you need evidence to show how you are related to this child. And you need to have your government issued ID. We'll talk about what those IDs, as well as a photocopy of it front and back. If you cannot do a copy of the ID, don't worry. At all of the passport facilities, you can make a copy. Now, if you have some special circumstances where one parent cannot appear in person, there are some avenues that they let you know about in order to go around that situation, including a notarized statement, the DS 3053, that will include the child's full name, date of birth, and it has to be notarized. UPS and your bank both do notaries, as well as the many other places. But those two, you can also just Google notary and find a notary if you're not a notary yourself. So it does have to be a notarized paperwork. So all the paperwork, and it only lasts what, 3 months. You need to make sure you're ready to go when you get this paperwork notarized. There's some other forms. So if their other parent is deceased, then you need to provide the death certificate. And there's other additional paperwork here that if those two situations are not your situation, they do give you some more options. All right, so what do you need? So we talked about a little bit about a birth certificate. And so let's go down the page. Proof of citizenship. Everybody, no matter if they're children or adults, are going to need proof of citizenship. Do that again. Proof of citizenship. So in order to prove that you are a citizen of the United States, you need to have a certified birth certificate. And of course, this is for my folks who this is your first time getting a passport, so a previous passport won't be you. But a certified birth certificate, meaning that it still has the seal, it still has the certification on it, whatever your state does to certify birth, that's what you need. And it needs to be the long form. The long form has all of the information, including your parents' information, your information, where the record is from, all of that. And so it has to be the long form. If you're saying to yourself, I don't have a birth certificate, or I just don't know where it is, you can easily Google birth certificates or vital records. Go down to your vital records office, wherever you are. Currently, I'm in Charleston, and go to your vital records office, and that way you will get your birth certificate. You can also get death certificates there as well. And this is in the city in which you were born. So I go here for my children. I go to Louisiana for my own. If you ever need a copy of these things, you can get them. Now, that requires a different set of information to get your ID, your birth certificate. And this video will not go into what you need for that. Specifically, you will need it for your passport. So once you have that documentation, and if you were born outside the U.S., there is some information here as well as on the travel.state.gov website so that you can get that information. The next thing you're going to need is a proof of ID. Now, proof of ID can be your driver's license, not temporary, not learner's permit, driver's license, certificate of naturalization or citizenship, military ID, federal, state, municipal government ID. You need to also have a photocopy of the ID. And again, if you can't do the photocopy beforehand, you can do it at the U.S. Postal Service. And that is the ID. Now, read the sentence with me. You must establish your identity to the satisfaction of the acceptance agent and passport services. So know that whatever ID you're bringing, if they're not satisfied with it or doesn't think it meets the requirements, you're going to need to have some other ID. So it's best to just go with, the main forms here first. And then there's some other options for you. So there are always options, while our government can be tricky, it does provide some other options that you can use. And so, go with the passport, go with the driver's license if you have it, or military ID. The third thing you will need, so first we had this proof of citizenship, second is your proof of ID, third is your color photos. Now again, if you do CVS, Walgreens, or the U.S. Postal Service, you can do color photographs there. What you need to know about the color photographs, you can find back on the U.S. Postal Service's website. It tells you exactly what you need. Recognize that you cannot have glasses in your photo. Do not do selfies. Someone else needs to take the picture for you. And if you can go to Walgreens, CVS, the U.S. Postal Service, because they do a great job. They already know what the rules are and can help you. However, if you just want to make sure you're dressed appropriate on the day of your appointment, you can. So it gives you all the examples of needing. If you're like me and you wear a head covering, there it is acceptable to wear. You do need to have a statement, signed statement of the either medical or religious purposes of your headwear. And that's fine, but it does need to show your face. And if it's not, if they deem that there's shadows or it's just looking like this, then what they'll do is have you adjust yourself. I've done that. They were like, no, we want to see the shape of your face, and so I had to do a lot of adjusting of my headscarf so that it will be appropriate for the imagery. And children, there are some things. One of the things I thought was very interesting. Where'd it go? It's not on this page. There it is. No pacifiers in the picture, even though sometimes that'll be helpful, but we can't. You also cannot hold the baby. The baby does have to be on the proper background. And again, you cannot hold the baby or put the baby up to, somebody else's chest. So all of the rules to follow on that. And once you have your photographs, we'll talk about fees at the end. Let's look and see what the application looks like. All right. So we talked about children. We talked about proof of citizenship. We've talked about proof of ID, the photograph. Let's just keep going. There's a lot of information here that you can read through, but it's not necessary for the rest of this video. Now, if you cannot print out your application, perfectly fine. They have paperwork at the Postal Service as well as the Passport Center. It doesn't take very long to fill out if you already have all of this documentation. So, one thing you need to know is that it must be in black ink. Again, it must be in black ink. If it is in blue ink, red ink, purple ink, green ink, they will hand it back to you and say, sorry, ma'am, mister, please repeat the process. The other thing you want to know is, do you want a passport book or a card? Recognize that the card is not valid for international air travel. So if you're trying to go visit our Cathey or you're trying to go visit Rick and Sweet Juicy Mama, you cannot use a passport card. You have to actually get the passport book. You can get both, but know that you want the book. All right, so as you see, you just fill out last name, first name, date of birth. If you have a middle name, fill in middle name, gender or sex, place of birth. All of this is the information that is on your birth certificate. It must match your paperwork. So your driver's license, your birth certificate, and your passport application must be in line. So if you're saying this, so wait a minute, I got married and I changed my name. That's okay. There's a place for you down here to list other names you have used so that they can match up with your paperwork. You will include your social security number, your email address, your primary phone number, mailing address. This is the mailing address that your documentation and passport will get sent back to. So make sure it's accurate. Please, please, please follow instructions, family. If it says stop, do not continue, stop and do not continue. Don't write on this section. This is for the passport agent or authorized agent to complete, and they will attach your photograph here and all of that information. And then, if necessary, because it is for an adult, you will sign it. But do not do anything here until you are told to do so. Otherwise, they will hand the form back to you and say, please do this again. Continuing on the second page, again, name, last name, first name. Don't get tripped up. Last name, first name, date of birth in the proper order, and then put your parents' information. Again, this is what is on your birth certificate and or any legal documentation. Mama last name, her date of birth, her place of birth, her sex, her citizenship, father, last name, first name, date of birth, place of birth, sex, citizenship. All right, now it's back to you again. Have you ever been married? Yes or no? If yes, continue to include your spouse, their date of birth, place of birth, citizenship, date of marriage, whether you've been widowed or divorced, and continue on. And contact information, occupation, employer, if you're employed or not, height, color of hair, color of eyes, again, matches your documentation. And if you have some travel plans and where you're going. I just wanted to fill in Kenya and UAE. Can't wait to go to either one of those. Your permanent address, if it is different from your mailing address. If not, leave it blank. Emergency contact. This cannot be a person traveling with you. They want to be able to track somebody down. And then lastly, have you ever applied for a passport before? Yes, no, maybe so. And what is the status of that passport? Lost, stolen, in possession, or submitting it with the application. And again, do not write in this area. So, family, that is what you need to know about the passport, the paperwork for that. We've gone through the photos. You know what to do for children and what that documentation looks like. Fees, I know that's where we are. We wanted to talk about money. Let's see. So I will tell you that the cost of it for a child is $80. And if you want both, it's 95. This you will complete at the passport agency service or the U.S. Postal Service, and you will write them a check, or you will use a certified check to the Department of State. Then you will pay a $35 execution fee to the U.S. Postal Service. So you'll see those fees on the next page when we do the appointment for that. For an adult, let's go back up to the top and scroll down till I get to my fees. All right, and so for an adult passport, it is what? $110. So $110 and then $35 as well as for the execution fee. Oh, they put it on the adult side, they tell you both. And again, $80 for children. Now, once you already have your passport, remember, you can renew your passport online here. And via the mail. And so this is only for brand new first time passport applicants. And now you have all of your paperwork. What do you do next? You can go to schedule your appointment. You want passport services, who else coming, mama, daddy, best friend, sister, whoever, and how many children you have with you going to do the passport, where you're going to go. No, gotta refresh the screen. Okay, love it. They are really start at the top again. One thing that's really nice about the U.S. Postal Service is that they remind you of the fees. They are already telling you $15, which is the same price, I think, at CVS and Walgreens. And they also tell you for minors, you're going to need some additional information for them. Where do you want to go? You're going to do it by location. It's going to pop up here. Uh-oh, stop. We're going to put the zip code in. It's looking for my location. Once it finds one, nope, don't want to reload the page. Select that. Now, tell you the hours, those are mostly accurate. Pick a date. I also suggest to you, do not go looking for a plane ticket yet, because a lot of times certain airlines, they want you to have your passport number before you're booking your ticket. Some don't mind, and you never know how long it's going to take, especially for this first one. And so you're going to want to wait. So let's go ahead and book our appointment for next Tuesday. Select that date. Let's pick a time. Children will be up and running. Notice that said an hour. It will take 1 hour for 4 people. Arrive 10 minutes early, please. Put in your information. Put your phone number in. Put your email address. And then if you want updates, the last time I did this, I didn't get any text message updates, so I'm not sure if that does anything or not. Review your appointment information. I also did not get an email about it, but that's okay. Just know that it does not necessarily. And then it reminds you of the rules: glasses, hat, headwear, headphones, all of that. And the cost, as you see, $35 plus the $15 per person. This is not including the $110 for adults, $80 for children, not including that. You have to, that is a check to the Department of State. Yes, I did say a check. They will not take a debit card or credit card. It has to be paper currency, check, traveler's check, money order, all of those things. You cannot use a debit card or credit card. All right, I think that is it. On my next video, I think I'm going to talk about where to go and find the best plane tickets. And so that's what we're going to do. All right, family, you have now heard from me. I look forward to doing the next video. Signing off.